Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, wherever you may be. Today we're going to look at the griddle stitch. Now, here is the graph for the griddle stitch. Now, it's going to be slightly different if you are doing squares, like I am, to later sew together or keep as to show people and say, well, this is this stitch, this is that stitch, what would you like me to knit your blanket in, or whatever. Then you will know that we're normally doing 17 chain, and then we're adding however many chain we need for the height of the stitch. Well, in this case it changes because it asks for you to have an even number of stitches. So I've gone down to 16 chain. So I've got 16 chain plus 1 for the height, which does still give us a total of 17 chain, just to sort of try and keep the square sizes similar. Now, the griddle stitch is also known as the lemon peel stitch, and it's similar to another stitch, but I won't confuse you by bringing that in, because okay, so I've already done my chain of 16, and I'm about to add on my 17th to do the pattern here. It is a single crochet followed by a double crochet. Single, double, single, double. Every row must end, or should be ending, in a double crochet. You then do your one chain, and the next stitch will always be, you will always start with a single crochet. Now, of course, for the UK terminology, that's to say you will be doing always ending with a treble stitch and always starting with a double crochet. The idea is, as you can see from this sort of graph that I've got here for you, the single crochets are made into the double crochets, or your double crochets are made into your trebles if you're from the UK, and the double crochets are into the singles. So there's this sort of, wave that you don't necessarily see when the stitch is all put together, but so long as you're aware that the stitch you are creating does not go into the same sort of stitch, it goes into the alternate stitch in the pattern. Okay, and as you can see, I've just written up here the symbols. We've got the chain, we've got the DC, double crochet, or the treble in the UK, and then we've got the single crochet or the double crochet in the UK. Okay, so if you want to take a screenshot, you can do that, and we will get on with doing the griddle stitch, which is also known as the lemon peel. Now, I believe it's called the lemon peel. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It's called the lemon peel because it resembles the peel of a lemon. I don't know. You be the judge. Okay, so let's just change our angle and get ready. As I said, I've got my 16 chain, which we need to start off with. So I'm just going to mark that bump, back bump. We do 1 to get our height, and our first stitch is a single crochet. And we already done the single crochet, so we know how to do that. Then into the next back bump, we do a double crochet. Now, of course, if you're in the UK, what I have just done is a double crochet in the first stitch and a treble in the second stitch, or the second back bump. Okay, and we follow that all the way along. So we're just doing single, double. So we're just sort of going up and down, all the way along. There should be nothing new here. If you are thinking, gee, I don't recognize that stitch or that stitch name, please just go back, have a look at the playlist, and find the stitch that you're not familiar with, and have a look at that video again, or for the first time, and you will soon be making a griddle stitch. It's a very closed pattern or stitch, so you don't get a lot of gaps with it. Unlike the previous stitch I just did, which was the trebles, or the double trebles in the UK. It's not like those at all, and which is very gappy. This, as you will see, is very sort of tight and close together, and there isn't much space between the stitches at all. I don't think it really matters whether you call it a griddle stitch or a lemon stitch, as long as you're familiar with the term and you know which is which, will know that they're the same. You're not going to get confused. Okay, and as I said, double crochet, or a treble if you're in the UK, is always your last stitch of the row. And you can see it's quite a tight sort of stitch, and the double crochet is sort of brought down to the single crochet sort of level, but we do a chain one for the next row, we turn it. Now, because we finished with a treble or double crochet in the US, we need to start always with a single crochet, or in the UK, you would call it a double crochet. I wish we all could just use the same terms, but never mind. So we're going to start with a single crochet. That is why we just did one chain. Okay, so then we are going to go into the next stitch, which is our single crochet. We're going to go into that with our double crochet. The next stitch is a double crochet, so we're going to go into that with our single. And if you find that suddenly, I'm doing a double crochet into a double crochet, you probably made a mistake, and you could probably need to go back and frog it, unravel it, and try again. So that's a single into a double. Here's a single. So we're just going to do, a double crochet. The next stitch is a double, so we need to do a single crochet. Alternatively, you just need, if you don't want to sort of try and work out what stitch you're going into, just remember that you're doing single, double, single, double. So doing a single, a double, a single, a double, single, double, single, double. again, single, and double. There are lots of stitches in the crocheting and knitting world that have on the last stitch, so that must be a double crochet or a treble if you're in the UK. There are lots of stitches in both knitting and crochet which have similar names as another stitch which is exactly the same and that sort of thing. So sometimes it's just a learning curve and you just have to remember that, oh, okay, that stitch is also known as this stitch. There are also lots of combinations to deal with both knitting and crochet. Lots of combinations of stitches that will create, you know, different styles, different textures, and all the rest of it. So I'm going to do another row because I want you to be able to see. Now this would be technically the front side of the work. Not that there is really technically a front side because it is reversible, except for that first bit where the double crochet does sort of bulge out a little bit. But it is, other than that, reversible. Okay, so first stitch is always a single crochet, then a double. And already you can see how tight this pattern, stitch pattern is, and how, you know, there's not much gaps or spacing. You know, you're not gonna get any air blowing through there. Once again, like with all stitches, you can pretty much use it for anything you want to use it for. This is also the Battle of the Stitches stitch for March 2025, in case you happen to be watching this much further down the track. So there is another tutorial for this that I've done that is for Battle of the Stitches. So if you see two Griddle Stitch pattern, you know, two Griddle Stitch tutorials, that is why. Okay. Oops, nope, single. This is actually a very nice purple, but it's showing up as blue. And I hate that. Because it is a lovely purple. And you get to miss out on seeing that. Oh, my latest video has finished uploading, I think. So I need to do all that to post it. I do hope you get a chance to go over and have a look at that. It's all about knitting in the round. So if you're following the Knitting for Beginners tutorials, that's the latest one that's just about to go up. Knitting in the round for beginners. Last stitch, so we're going to do a double crochet. Whoops, didn't go through both. That's better. Okay. I mean, it's maybe, I don't know, I don't mind the stitch. I suppose I can see why it would be called lemon peel. It does have that sort of dimply effect of it. In fact, you could probably use this in amigurumi if you were making a lemon or a orange, to get that sort of dimply look, because it is quite tight. Maybe if you went down a hooker size or whatnot, it would certainly be a lot tighter, and you could stuff it and still get that nice texture for an orange or a lemon, if that's what you wanted to make. I've got to make some oranges soon for my hungry caterpillar. So I might even see if I can do it with this stitch. It will be difficult knowing how to increase it, but we'll work it out. Well, I'll try and work out something and see if it works. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I have to frog it, so yeah. So that's 3 rows done. It's not exactly a very quick grow. It's not going to grow really quickly because it is so sort of, I want to say tight knit, but it's not knit obviously because it's crochet, but it's very sort of tight together, and there's definitely a lot of texture in there. I'm wondering actually how it would show up if you did a different color for each row. I don't know, but that is the griddle stitch. You now have the graph for it. You have a tutorial for it, and hopefully you can replicate it. If you have any problems at all following along with me, I'll do one more row so that you can, I'll do one row in silence so that you've got a row to slow down without, you know, me sounding like, you know, the batteries are running out. And yeah, so I'll just do one row in silence. And that's the last stitch. There we go. It's a very stiff fabric as well. Even using, you know, I'm using the right hook for the yarn, but it's, you know, you wouldn't use this as perhaps a shawl unless you went up a few hook sizes to give it a bit of drape to make it a little bit looser. So there is that, but there you go. Okay, I will leave that with you. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to give me a like and a subscribe, and yeah, I'll catch you when we're next doing a tutorial for a brand new crochet stitch. Well, I say a brand new one to the beginners who have never done them before. Okay, bye for now. Thanks for watching.